There's nothing better than coming home to clean floors, especially when your robot did all the cleaning. But while robot vacuums save you time, they still take some care and feeding to stay running at peak performance. That's where the new Dreame L40s Ultra makes a big difference as a vacuum that practically takes care of itself. I didn't believe this at first, which is why I'm thankful to Dreame for partnering with me on this video so I could try out this new vacuum and get some much needed time back. And stay tuned for the end of the video when I'll talk about the settings I like to use for this vacuum in the Dreame Home app. Setting up the vacuum is very straightforward, and where the first of these time-saving features jumped out at me. The vacuum bag and clean and dirty water tanks are all very large, 3.2 liters to be exact for the vacuum bag. Dreame rates this combination as 100-day for auto empty. This means you can go 3 months without replacing the dust bag. Once you have the robot set up and on your Wi-Fi, you need to have it map out your home. And then you can set up the room boundaries in the Dreame app. So now it's time to vacuum my floors. The Dreame L40s Ultra has the strongest suction power of any vacuum I've ever tested at 19,000 pascals. In my experience, this means it has no problems picking up any kind of dirt I throw at it, but it's quiet for this strong of suction, not something that would wake up my children upstairs. So if you have pets like my two wonderful cats, Hans and Sophia, well, no one has cats as wonderful as my two, Hans and Sophia. But anyway, all that pet hair really adds up fast, not to mention human hair from 5 people in my family. Handheld and robot vacuums often struggle with this as hair builds up and it gets into the rollers, slowing them to a crawl. But brushes that are just designed to work well with hair could lose some performance in other areas like carpet or hardwood. That's a big reason why Dreame's Hyperstream Detangling Duo brush has a dual roller design. One roller is specialized in hardwood floors and crevices, while the other one is designed for picking up debris from carpets. For me, this is all translated into not having to worry about how my robot vacuum is handling the mess that my 2 cats and 3 children leave behind. Now to the mopping. When I tried the Dreame X40 Ultra last year, I started to see how Dreame had really mastered spinning mops for cleaning your floors. This continues with the Dreame L40s Ultra, which has great mopping on my floors. When the robot goes back to the base station, it cleans the mops for you with 167°F hot water. It also refills the robot's mop water tank with clean water that's automatically mixed with a separate tank of cleaning solution in the base station. So I don't have to worry about mixing in floor cleaner into my water. If you've had a robot that cleans mop pads like this, you'll know that then the basin where the mops are washed also needs regular cleaning. Dreame's self-cleaning washboard tech means you don't have to worry about that, at least nearly as often. It sprays and circulates the water in the basin to clean off dirt, which all just means less stuff for me to do. My wife and I generally like to pick things up and train our kids to pick things up too. So most of the time, our robot doesn't have a lot of debris, but it's inevitable that some toys are still left out. In the past, fear of the vacuum running over those toys meant that the whole floor didn't get vacuumed because we didn't run the vacuum. Now, the Dreame L40s Ultra has so far done a great job avoiding obstacles like toys, as well as finding the edges of rooms and furniture and cleaning right up to the edge with the extending mop and vacuum brush. The L40s Ultra does this with a combination of laser and computer vision to see the surroundings. Speaking of obstacles, it also has ultrasonic detection for carpets. When the L40s Ultra detects carpet, it will automatically raise the suction power of the vacuum for best performance and lift the mop pads to 0.14 inches above the wheelbase of the robot, keeping your carpet dry. Now that the L40s Ultra robot is off cleaning, I need to go upstairs and pack for our family vacation. All right, so I am out here on this family vacation, and I wanted to take a minute to tell you about some of the settings inside the Dreame app that you can use to control the vacuum, because even though I'm away from home, of course, I can control this vacuum using the app, and that's actually a great time to have it vacuum when you're not there. You can get it to clean. So, as I mentioned at the start of the video, you come home to clean floors. Now, if I go into the Dreame Home app and go to the device, which in this case is the L40s Ultra. Then I can see the map, of course, and at the bottom, you'll see the options between all, room, or zone cleaning. Now, all is just going to clean the entire map. And then if I want to customize those settings, you'll see it's already for me set on a custom setting, but I can go here and hit custom and then choose any of these different options. Now, Clean Genius is Dreame's AI-driven cleaning that basically just evaluates how dirty your rooms are and what it needs to do to clean those. So you could switch over to that, or you could go back to where I have it, which I like to use the vacuum and mop setting or just the vacuum setting. But you can also have it mop after it does a complete vacuuming or just mop if that's what you want. There's also customizing to each individual room if you want to do that. So from there, with vacuum and mop, I like to have the suction power on max. That way you're really taking advantage of all the suction power this vacuum has. I keep the moistness on the mops just in the middle there, and then with a standard route. Now, one thing I do also add to get it to clean in more detail is if you go into the room settings here on the vacuum, you'll get an option for numbers of cycles. So if I wanted to really deep clean a particular room or collection of rooms, I just tap on this little X in the corner and then change it to either ×2, which is what I most frequently use, or ×3. So for example, a great way for us to clean up a messy dining room after the kids have been eating is to send the vacuum in, and I have it clean on 2 cycles then with vacuum and mop, and that'll clean up the dining room. The other cool thing that you can do here in the app is go to the dock options and have it manually empty the dustbin or wash the mops or initiate a mop drying session where it'll dry off the mops if you know they're wet. Now, the vacuum will take care of most of this on its own, so you really don't have to worry about those settings, but if for some reason you wanted to trigger those manually, you always have that option there in the app. Now, the last option is zone cleaning. So if there's just a particular area you want the vacuum to clean in your home, you can go over to zone, and then you can set up a particular square area where you want the vacuum to clean. I tend to not really use this that much. I just either have it clean specific rooms or the entire floor, but just something to keep in mind if maybe you want to clean up a specific mess. But those are just the settings that apply to each individual cleaning. There are also some settings that I like to have configured a certain way that apply across all your cleanings until you change them. So just hit the 3 dots in the top of the screen, and then you'll see an option for carpet settings. Under carpet settings, you want to make sure that you have carpet boost on as well as intensive carpet cleaning. I also like to have the side brush rotate on the carpets, but that's not necessary. I've gone back and forth on that because sometimes if the side brush gets a little wet from something on the floor, then you might not want that on your carpets, but I love that Dreame does give you the option here. Then this comes to an area that really sets Dreame apart, I think, is their AI-driven mop extend settings. So this will help you take the most advantage of the extending mop and extending brush, which Dreame does a really good job at adding to their robots. So in this case, you want to turn on AI-driven side reach and AI-driven mop extend, and then turn on the mop extension for gap cleaning, as well as intensive cleaning for furniture legs. This one's key because it'll mean it'll get closer to the legs of your furniture and really get in that little gap where you might have dirt build up. I also like to set the frequency here to high so that it's doing these kinds of extensions in the little crevices as much as possible. Because I think all of this is really where Dreame excels, is in just giving your place a really good deep clean. And if you dial in these settings to a way that works right for your home, I think you'll see the same results. Well, I have a lot of fun playing with vacuums and squeezing out all the best performance. Having a vacuum you don't have to manage as closely makes a big difference in what it's like to use day to day. If you want to get a Dreame L40s Ultra for yourself, use the link at the top of the description to get a special discount, as well as links to check out other vacuums from Dreame like the L40s Ultra CE, which brings some of the features of the L40s Ultra to a lower price point. Thanks again to Dreame for supporting my channel, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.